Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Eat. I am trying something, I guess, kind of new. I'm trying to figure out the audio. I feel like the audio I have perfected when I do non-video episodes because I've really worked out the kinks with GarageBand, but for whatever reason, I just haven't nailed the audio yet for video. So I hope that it's that it's still a pleasant experience for you to listen, but I'm wondering maybe if I put the mic a little bit closer that it might help a little bit. So bear with me here on figuring all of this out. Welcome to Let's Eat. Welcome back. Today we're talking all about finding your balance in the midst of the holiday season. It's very timely for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, I recently kicked off my free wellness accountability group on Facebook. For those of you who haven't joined yet, I will include the link in the show notes for you to go ahead and join. It's entirely free, no strings attached, but it's essentially an opportunity for you to remain aligned with your health and wellness through the holiday seasons, which we know is notorious for being exceptionally challenging, right? We know that the holiday season comes with all of its chaos and temptations and celebrations and whatnot, which oftentimes leads us down a path where we feel that we've lost touch with our goals. We maybe, fly off the handle, and then we end up saying, oh, I'll start on January 1st, or I'll start my diet Monday, or whatever it is that comes up for us, right? We've all been there. I know I've been there. And so the point of this group is really to help you feel more supported. Obviously, there's limitations in terms of what I can offer each individual person. It's not one-on-one necessarily, but at the very least, it's offering a community, a space, and realistically, just a whole bunch of reminders about all the things that we can be doing while we go through the holidays in order to feel our best in mind and body. That's really the goal. The goal is for you to enjoy all of the things, all of the indulgences and the pies and the cookies and the sweets and all of the things that come along with your holiday season, the way that you celebrate. Because the way you celebrate is different from how I celebrate. It's different from how the next guy celebrates. But overall, it's about being present and enjoying all that the season offers, but then also still feeling good while doing it and remaining aligned with the goals that we have for ourselves. So it's not this black and white where the holiday season is, one extreme, and then we feel like we have to go to the other extreme come January, which I think we can all agree we know that is oftentimes the case. So if you are interested in joining, I will put the link in the show notes. This is an open group, so it's not something where, you miss the date to enter and then you're done for the rest of the season. It's going to run for about 6 weeks. So at any point in time, if you'd like to join, you always have access to it. Please feel free. You're more than welcome. Or if you feel that there are others in your life that would benefit from joining, invite them, share the link, share the episode, bring them in. I'd love that. Everyone's welcome. And I'm really, really excited. So on that note, let's get into today's episode. As always, I share what I'm drinking. So I have with me I guess it's a spin on a bone broth hot chocolate, which is my go-to during the colder months. I have a lot of computer work to get done today, and this is the start of it. So I decided to do the more fun thing first, which I know that experts say that when you have a to-do list, you should always do the least pleasant task first and then work towards the more enjoyable one. So I am not doing that today. I am choosing what I want to do first. So here we are. But I did make this bone broth hot chocolate. I'm using Peak's, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It's Nandaka, I believe is what it's called. It's their coffee alternative. And it's a cacao-based drink with adaptogenic herbs and mushrooms. It's got all sorts of good stuff in there, but it's very cacao-esque. So usually I would use like an unsweetened cacao powder. But for this specific recipe, I did a packet of that. And then I did some raw honey, some bone broth, coconut milk, cashew milk, and some vanilla. Chef's kiss. It's so good. And on my radar is making homemade marshmallows because I have a massive bag of gelatin. So that is on my agenda if I can fit that in at some point in time, because I would love to make that. So I can add that to my hot chocolate. But if you are interested in bone broth hot chocolate, please let me know. I will send you the recipe. I understand there's a lot of hesitation around it. I've heard that from many people about, can you taste the bone broth? That sounds strange. Yes. Valid questions, valid statements. I understand. No, you cannot taste it. Obviously, if you're loading it up with bone broth, you're going to notice it that it's there. But I swear this is one of the best things that I started making because it's delicious. It's made with real ingredients. There's no refined sugar. And you're getting some protein and some essential amino acids. We got some proline, we got some glycine, great for your gut health, collagen, all the good stuff. So love this. We'll continue to make this. If you want the recipe, let me know. It's all over my Instagram, so you can take a look there. But that is my first beverage. And then secondly, I have my electrolytes. Today is a rest day. So I'm having my electrolytes just to accompany me as I work. Otherwise, I would have it with my workout. And let's dive in. So the message and the takeaway from today's episode is really meant to empower you over the course of the next 6 weeks through Whole for the Holidays, through my social media platforms, through my newsletter, through the podcast. I'm going to be sharing more specifically on different holiday related strategies and suggestions and guidance on how to most effectively navigate the holidays. And when I say most effectively, I don't mean in the sense of how can I just get through this? How can I just, make my way through it so that I am, not gaining any weight, or I'm eating healthy, or sticking to all my workouts? That's not the goal. Okay. That feels very stressful. Do you feel the energy with that statement? I feel the energy. I feel it in my body, right? Where it's like, okay, just need to get through the holiday season, and hope that I hold on and that I'm able to get through it and I don't mess up and I don't fall off and I'm on my, on my calorie goal or whatever it is, right? I really don't like the energy that comes along with that. It feels very stressful. Instead, I want you to feel as though this is, an opportunity for you to look at, how can I still remain committed to my non-negotiables? How can I, still be present with my friends and family and also be supporting my body at the same time? Because that is very possible. And how can I be forgiving? And how can I be gentle and understanding with myself amidst it all? I think that is the hardest thing for so many of us, is we are so hard on ourselves. We knock ourselves down so much around this, and we are our own worst enemy. When in reality, we really need to start reframing and start encouraging ourselves, right? Start being our best cheerleader through all of this, as opposed to, like I said, beating ourselves down or being hard on ourselves for not making the best decision, or for having the extra slice of pie, or for missing our workout, on a day that we really needed to sleep in. There's no one else holding us accountable to this. That is, unless you're working with someone who is holding you accountable to it, right? But we are our own accountability partners in so many ways, and we're so hard on ourselves. And so I really want to bring that energy into this space. It's about holding yourself accountable and giving yourself that reminder that, yes, I do need to stick to my non-negotiables and move my body and, choose nourishing foods. That's not to say that's not important. But I can also be gentle and be patient with myself through it, because this really is one of the best times of the year. And the more that we beat ourselves up, the more that we're hard on ourselves, the less time we'll have to be present and to enjoy, and to really soak it in and be where we are with friends and family and enjoying it all. So it's about finding that balance, and it's all on the individual to determine that for yourself. It could be a day-to-day process even. I know for me, that's a big part of my holiday seasons now, is taking it day by day. What makes me feel good today? What will fill my cup today? What nourishes me today? What are my non-negotiables? And how can I stick to those? And then also enjoy and also be present if I'm with family or I'm with friends or whatever that might look like. So let's dive into this a little bit further. There's a couple concepts that I want to explore and talk about. But one of the first steps that I would love for you to take, and this is going to be something that I suggest to the group as well, Whole for the Holidays, is to reflect on your holiday experiences in the past. Think about what did those experiences look like for you? Now, these can be just within the past couple years. These can go as far back to childhood. But what types of emotions come up for you thinking back to those times of the year? Are they emotional for you? Are they fond memories? Are they hard memories? What was your experience around food? What was your experience around exercise? What was the cultural traditions that were embedded in your family, right? What did that look like for you? Thinking back to all of these experiences is not meant to cause you pain or to make you upset or, to bring about any type of negative emotion. Instead, it's meant for you to better understand how are past experiences driving the choices that I could potentially make this year. We are such creatures of habit. So much of what we do is repetitive. So much of our lives is shaped from past experiences. And think about it. If we've done the same thing over and over again, where we go into the holidays thinking that we're going to be, on top of our nutrition and on top of our movement, and then once again, another year comes around where you find yourself maybe overindulging or missing your workouts, skipping the gym, fill in the blank. And then come January, you feel like you need to reapply yourself and get into this New Year's resolutions energy. And then maybe the third week in, you are once again unsuccessful. Maybe you've missed a day or you've fallen off your diet or whatever it is. And you're back to, oh, I'll start again Monday, or, it's too hard, or, whatever it is, back to this kind of yo-yoing, right? We know there's yo-yoing in our relationship with food and there's yo-yoing within our relationship with movement. I mean, there's probably yo-yoing in a number of different areas of health, right? Where we really commit ourselves and then we fall off that wagon. We commit ourselves and then we're back and forth. And I'm speaking from experience here, okay? This is all coming from experience where, going into the holidays well-intentioned and feeling like we were going to be able to stick to a diet or stick to a plan. And because maybe I've been too restrictive over the past several months, now it feels like the temptation is even stronger. You think about it, if you tell someone, don't eat that, or don't climb on that, don't, touch the hot stove. And what does a toddler want to do? They want to touch the hot stove. That's a human nature. That's human nature, right? It's a human tendency. You want something that you can't have. And so the biggest part of this conversation is really going to be centered around that, is about not restricting. And that's the nature of my philosophy as a practitioner, right? Is to be sure that is always the energy, because the second that our body and our brains sense that there's any type of restriction, that's when it becomes exponentially harder for us to stay away from the things that we enjoy, or stay away from the things that we know are maybe not so nourishing. Can we use judgment and moderate? Absolutely. But the second that we start to say, I'm not allowed to have that, I can't have this, I can't have that, is the second that we signal to the body, okay, we can't have that, now we want it 100 times more. Okay? So off on this tangent now, back to my original point, I want you to reflect on how the holidays were for you in the past. And maybe even, like I said, you can look back to childhood and you can think about what that experience was like. But even just in the past couple of years, what did that look like for you from a nutritional standpoint? What did that look like for you from an exercise standpoint? What were the areas that you struggled with in years past? What were the challenges that kept you from being successful in these areas? Okay. Building awareness is going to be your best tool in any journey in life. Okay. And as it relates to a wellness journey, especially, awareness is the key to self-transformation. So the more that you can bring your attention to what are the areas that I feel I might struggle with most, not as a means of, okay, when am I going to fail, or to dwell on the fact that there might be some challenges. That's not what I'm suggesting. It's more about, how can I look at this constructively? And how can I look at it and now know, okay, this might be an issue for me because historically this has been. How can I now look at that and decide how to be more effective in approaching it, how to be more successful in approaching that same barrier that seems to come up year after year. Whether that's a scheduling thing, a meal prepping thing, just a little bit more preparation across the board can be extremely valuable if you feel like you're repeating that same cycle. If we continue to engage in the same repeated process, we're going to get the same results, right? If we continue to engage in the same cycle, the outcome will always remain the same. And it will probably look like feeling maybe lethargic after the holidays, feeling like maybe you've gained some weight, maybe you're feeling more inflamed, you're feeling like you have to go extremely hard come January 1st, right? With your workouts, calorie counting, dieting, whatever that might look like. And instead, I want to oh my God, I said this the other day. I was like, even the level playing field. Instead, I want to level the playing field, right? And look at it as, yeah, there's going to be some, some sugar, there's going to be some alcohol, there's going to be some sleepless nights, there's going to be, whatever it is that you enjoy during the holidays. And there's also going to be balance. And there's also going to be, a maintenance essentially that is going to allow you to feel good. Okay, so reflecting on your past holiday experiences in order to gain understanding of areas that you might struggle, okay, as a way to preemptively plan how can I address that more effectively. If I know the past 10 years, if my grandmother sends me home with that pumpkin pie again, I am going to eat that entire pie. This is 10 years. I have history of 10 years of doing this. And while it's something that, I love doing every year, I don't want to say no to my grandma, right? How can I maybe approach this more effectively? Maybe I can put the pie in the freezer instead, and then just take it out and take off a slice and then put it back in. Maybe I can give it to my sister's family instead. Maybe I can donate it. I don't know if, you can donate. Maybe if it's a full pie, you can donate it. Maybe if it's a half-eaten pie, I wouldn't suggest that. But just understanding how to be more successful based on your past experiences is one of the best life hacks you could ever ask for, right? Because you have history to reflect on. Okay. So it's a way of building awareness. It's a way of planning to be more successful. It's a way of understanding what types of emotions come up for you. Maybe, ever since you lost your one relative, holidays just haven't been the same. And so the energy within the holidays is on the more maybe morbid side, or you're feeling melancholy around the holidays. You're just feeling kind of down. That can drive our choices, right? That can lead to feelings of depression, feelings of, this low energy that keeps you from wanting to move your body or nourish. And that can lead to stress eating. That can lead to, maladaptive coping skills, right? So maybe looking at it through that lens. What are some ways that I can still lift my mood? What are some ways that I can still honor the memory of this relative after they've passed and still enjoy the holidays, right? I think there's a lot of benefit to just thinking back on the areas of the holidays that are more challenging for you from a health and wellness perspective, and then being able to be honest with yourself about, okay, how can I move forward with all of this in mind? And this is something that only you can do, because you are the only person that can look back on your experiences and honor and acknowledge, how have I been feeling? How have I experienced this? What are my areas of challenge? How can I be honest with myself about that so that I can be more successful moving forward? Because otherwise, it typically just repeats itself, right? The cycle just continues. So whatever that looks like for you, I want you to take a moment to really think about what types of emotions are there. Where have you been successful? Celebrate the wins. Where are areas that you feel like you need maybe a little bit support, or maybe you need to reflect a little bit more about how to more successfully navigate that, or to buffer around it? That's your first assignment. Second, and I kind of touched on this, we as human beings are very susceptible and very vulnerable to all or nothing thinking. Raise your hand if you are an all or nothing thinker. I'd imagine most of you have your hands raised, because what we know is that's a cognitive distortion. And cognitive distortions are exactly what that sounds like. A distortion in our cognition. Cognition meaning thoughts. Otherwise, it's called unhelpful thinking patterns. What are some other ones? Thinking errors. There's other names for it. They're all escaping me right now. But those are a few of the alternative ways of saying cognitive distortion. And this is rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we talk about how cognition, cognitive thoughts, lead to emotions and then drive behavior. And so it's really about looking at your thoughts. And this is where that awareness comes in. Okay. That all or nothing, black or white thinking, there's a number of other ones that might be relevant here, but I think the all or nothing one is the best one to talk about, is going to determine whether or not you choose to make more healthful choices. And vice versa. You choose to make lesser nutritional choices or lesser healthful choices. Okay. And the reason being is the fact that in that all or nothing thinking, it's essentially saying, well, I either have to be all in or I'm all out. Either I'm exercising every single day this week or I'm not exercising at all. Either I'm, eating clean all week long or I'm having dessert for every meal. There's a number of other examples. I can go on. That is very, very typical of being a human. So congratulations, you're a human. And during the holidays, right? It's that I'll start Monday, I'll start January 1st energy because, well, why bother? I've already started. I've already had one slice of the pie. I might as well just have it for the rest of the week and finish it off. Or I've already missed today's workout, so I'm just going to forget about it and start again on Monday. It's very all or nothing, and it's very harmful. And we could easily just fall into that pattern and decide, okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right, forget about it. I already had one, so I'm just gonna eat the whole bag, or I'm gonna, go for a second, third, or fourth scoop of ice cream, or whatever it is. Or we can be critical thinkers, and we can sit there for a sec and bring awareness and bring attention to those thoughts of, all right, I missed the gym today. Now, is this a reason for me to not go to the gym tomorrow? Or is this an excuse that I'm allowing myself to lean into? Would that make a difference if I went to the gym tomorrow instead of just waiting for Monday to come? Yeah, it would make a difference. Because if I miss the gym on Monday and I say I'll start next Monday, I'm missing out on every opportunity Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go back and recommit to my goals, even if it's just for 5 minutes. So by bringing your attention to when that all or nothing thinking is coming up for you is going to be your best friend. Because what you can do in that moment then is rationalize with yourself a little bit. Like I just said, all right, I missed the gym today, but does that give me a reason to skip the rest of the week? No, I shouldn't do that, right? I could, all right? I want to honor that. You could. But if I have goals for myself, I want to feel better, I want to invest in this area of my health, what would be the most appropriate next step? Probably going tomorrow. And what's really fascinating is the fact that if this has been something that's turbulent for you or it's been challenging, this concept of I'll start Monday, the difficulty that will come with starting Monday as opposed to just starting tomorrow will be very different. Because the more that we push something off, the more that we avoid it, right? Because in your brain, you're avoiding it, right? You know that. The harder it will be. And that's why come Monday, it is much harder. Instead of just choosing to get up the next day and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to try again today. Even if I can only go for 10 minutes, it's still something. And it'll make it much easier over the course of time as opposed to I'll start Monday, I'll start January 1st, and so forth. Okay, so keep that in mind too. A lot of times when we avoid something that is causing us maybe a little bit of stress, maybe a little bit of anxiety, whatever that might look like for you, it's our body's way of keeping us safe. So it is going to be harder for us to go to the gym and get a workout in or, reschedule with our personal trainer when we've canceled on them 3 times, right? Because that avoidance piece is a safety mechanism. So if we're able to say, you know what? It's going to be much easier for me in the long term if I just commit to going tomorrow, even if my brain is telling me, just wait till Monday. Just wait till Monday. It's fine. I know it's going to be much easier for me to get up and go tomorrow instead of just waiting in another whole week, and to maybe even, have Monday come and not go at all. And then you'll wait to next Monday, and then you're 2 whole weeks without getting yourself there. So the all or nothing thinking it takes personal awareness and developing that awareness. And this can be done through journaling. This can be done through meditation. This can be done just through slowing down. You notice a pattern in yourself, you can slow down. You can look at your thoughts a little bit more critically about, okay, if I know this is an area that I struggle with, how can I break this down a little bit more, bring it down to like a microscopic level to really look at what is the chain of events that are happening. I'm having this thought, I feel a certain way, I don't get to the gym. What is happening incrementally in those moments that is keeping you from taking that step? And once you're able to define that, it's not going to be a quick fix and all of a sudden you're going to be, hitting the gym like no problem. But at the very least, it's going to bring more attention to the resistance and why it's challenging for you and why those thoughts become so determinant of the outcome, right? Why those thoughts drive the behavior as much as they do. I'm hopeful that this makes sense. I'm hopeful that you're following me here. I'm not trying to put blame on you for having cognitive distortions, because you are a human being and this is so human of you to have this experience. And this is why so many of us have trouble. But if we're able to really look at those thoughts more critically, we can actually make a huge difference and change how we respond to them, change our actions in response to those thoughts. And that's when our whole lives change. The decision for you to get to the gym the next day, as opposed to once again pushing it off till Monday, that is transformational. That is huge. Not about the movement, right? It's not about the fact that you're going to get a workout in before Monday. So, you're one step closer to your physical goal or whatever the case is. No, it's about the fact that you're able to draw your attention to the thoughts. And then you consciously made the decision to say, you know what? My all or nothing thinking, my black and white thinking is telling me I should wait till Monday because why bother? But I have the awareness, I have the rationale to say, yeah, but tomorrow I can do it instead. Next, we have to start looking at this as a lifestyle, not a diet. This is such a big part of my work, is working with clients in adjusting the frame of mind that you see the way you're living your life through. Okay? Now, this is a byproduct of our culture. Our culture is obsessed with diet. Our culture is obsessed with, do this for 6 weeks and you get these results. Our culture is obsessed with that. And not only that, eating healthfully is considered dieting when eating processed foods is considered normal. Ultra processed foods is considered normal. Okay. So that's something else to consider, right? It's something we should all be questioning, that in order to eat healthfully, one would be considered dieting, when in reality, that's what we're meant to be eating all the while. Okay. So if we're able to really dismantle this idea of a diet and instead look at it as, this is just a continuation of my lifestyle, of my year, of choosing real whole foods, of moving my body regularly, of getting quality sleep, minimizing my sugar intake, managing my relationship with alcohol and stress and so forth. All of these factors are ongoing. It's not just, it starts on this day and it ends on that day. Instead, today is this date and the holidays are coming, and I'm going to continue to move through the holidays as I would, as if it were, any other time of year, choosing foods that are fueling, moving my body, doing all the things. And yeah, there might be extra celebrations during this time. There might be extra treats during this time, and that's okay. But it doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think that's a very diet-rooted mentality, is it's either I'm eating all of the things and drinking all the drinks and doing all of that, or I'm eating healthfully, I'm managing my weight, I'm counting my calories, I'm moving my body, right? This is another illustration of that all or nothing thinking. The all or nothing thinking is rooted in a diet, right? Because on a diet, you have to maintain the same meal plan and, hit all your workouts for the week and so forth. But a lifestyle has more fluidity. It has more flexibility. And it really finds that middle ground between that all or nothing where, yeah, I can commit to my health and I can commit to my wellness And I can also enjoy the things that come along with this holiday season. And that's about finding that middle ground as opposed to being on one extreme or the other. I think as Americans, we like that energy. I hear all the time, I'm a perfectionist. And, when I commit to something, I want to go all in and it has to be perfect. And it's too hard for me to be in that gray area. So I hear this a lot and I respect it and I understand it. But I don't think it's working for us. I don't think that it's working for us because it's so extreme. And then we beat ourselves up. We don't think that we're going to be successful. And if we continue 100 times the same cycle over and over again, this yo-yoing, this all or nothing, what do we think the 101st time will look like? We're doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working. That is why January 1st is such a charged day of I'm going to change my life and my health and lose all this weight because of what precedes it. Right? What comes before January 1st? Thanksgiving. Well, let's say Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever everyone celebrates, right? All of the holidays that come along with December, New Year's Eve, and then January 1st. And now January is the optimal time to make all these changes. But what's going to happen again come the summer, come the holidays again? We are likely going to continue to engage in this cycle. So we have to disrupt the cycle. We have to disrupt the pattern. And these are some ways to do that. Next, define your non-negotiables. Okay, what does that look like for you? For example, movement is so critical for my mental health. That is something that I feel so grateful that I'm able to do and I have access to and will always be a part of my life and my lifestyle, no matter the circumstances. So movement is a non-negotiable for me. And it doesn't have to be one particular type of movement. I'm all over the board nowadays with how I'm moving, but even just a walk. With Lulu, my golden retriever, she needs to be walked. So that makes it 1,000 times easier for me, right? Having a companion to do it with. But defining those non-negotiables are going to help you better understand what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say stronghold, but I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. It's like, what are the anchors? Let's call it anchors. What are the anchors in your day that are non-negotiables that are going to help you feel good? Now, this can be something as simple as I'm not going to snooze my alarm, or I'm going to be sure I get to bed at, the time that helps me feel most refreshed, or I, without a doubt, every single day have a cup of warm lemon water upon waking. Right? If you do that because it's a non-negotiable for you and you don't do anything else throughout the day that would be deemed healthful, I would argue that day is a success because you're honoring the non-negotiables. Now, I would encourage you to continue to find other things that you would consider a non-negotiable as it relates to your wellness. But for the sake of, balance, if you're able to commit to that because it helps you feel good, then I'm going to celebrate that for you. Right? I want that to be something that you rely on as being a key part of your day that helps you feel good, whether it stimulates your digestion, it helps with your liver, it helps you feel hydrated, whatever the case is. So I want you to start defining your non-negotiables. What does that look like? I know every single day I get in a smoothie that has protein in it, maybe collagen in it, maybe some greens in it. I know every single day I take a walk in the morning and listen to my favorite podcast. I know every single day I get up and I get morning sunlight, or I gratitude journal. I know meditation is my tried and true, rely on it, swear by it tool for my day to feel more centered. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Define your non-negotiables. And if you don't have non-negotiables, I can certainly help you define those, and I might be able to give you some suggestions. But I would encourage you to define what makes you feel good. What helps you feel good in the day? Is it starting the day with yoga? Is it, cleaning your kitchen, right? Is that something that you like to do that helps you feel at peace? It doesn't have to be all physical. It can definitely be mental, right? Is it setting aside time to read? That's something that I'm really working on, is not jumping right into work first thing in the morning, is getting myself, into a space where I'm able to devote 30 minutes to reading. Is it having protein first thing? I'm such a big proponent for that. Finding your non-negotiables to lean into over the course of the holidays is going to help you feel more grounded in your wellness. It can feel very chaotic during the holidays, and we can lose touch with a lot of the things that we find important, including nourishing, including moving, including, sleep. And it's not to say that you have to be perfect through it all, but if you can lean into those foundational tools that are going to help keep you feeling good, you are going to be 100 times more successful and enjoy the holiday season that much more. These are all ways for you to continue to hold on to what it is that help fill your cup, essentially. And that's going to look differently for you than it is for me. I'm hopeful through Whole for the Holidays and through more conversations, I can give you more tools and strategies that you can create as being, or that you can incorporate as being part of your non-negotiables, because they're really going to help you feel more balanced and more aligned with health and so forth. But you are in charge of defining your non-negotiables and finding those for yourself so that they're realistic for you. If I sat here and rattled off all of my non-negotiables and then you tried to implement those for yourself, it probably would bring more stress than it would bring peace. Because if you're trying to fit something that I enjoy into your lifestyle and you don't actually enjoy it, or it's not something that you find valuable to your life, that's going to be really annoying and cumbersome and time consuming and useless, right? And stressful. And we don't want that. So define your non-negotiables. What are the things that fill your cup, that help you feel good? Or even reverse that, right? If you're someone that knows dairy is not my friend, how can I either better support my body when eating dairy? Maybe that means including a digestive enzyme. Maybe it means choosing higher quality dairy, because sometimes people tolerate that better when they have dairy issues. Or does it mean I'm just going to limit how much I'm having of this? Even though I love buffalo chicken dip, I know I need to stay away from it, or I need to stay away from having more than my fair share of it, because then I will not feel well. Then my stomach will bother me. My inflammation will be driven, like all of these things. It's not meant to say stay away from the buffalo chicken dip at all costs, but be more mindful about it. Be aware of, my body does not agree with this, and that's okay. So I'm going to go about this in a little bit more strategy so that I can enjoy the buffalo chicken dip and I can also, feel good while doing it. I want you to also reconnect with your why. Why are you investing in your health? Why do you want to feel better? Are you navigating a certain condition? Are you dealing with symptoms that are, robbing you of feeling good and present and vibrant in your life? Are you just having a hard time, right? Maybe it's a mental health concern. There's a lot going on in our world right now. So reconnecting with your why, even if it requires you to do it on a day-to-day basis. I had a client for months wake up and revisit her why. And that can really help you realign and remind yourself of why it is that you're doing what you're doing, why it is you're choosing your non-negotiables, why it is that you're remaining aligned with your goals. Because a lot of times we lose touch with that, right? And if we're able to just reconnect and say, okay, you know what? I'm realigning with this because I want X, Y, or Z. I'm realigning with this because I know I want to feel good every day. Right? I want to feel my best in mind and body. I think we can all attest to wanting that too. So being able to reconnect with your why. I want to be, a healthy grandparent for my grandchildren, or I want to be able to run around with my 4 children and feel like I'm not, in need of a nap afterwards, right? Whatever that looks like. Okay. I'm just rattling off things that come off, from the top of my head. Finding what that looks like for you, reconnecting with your why is a great way to really remain aligned with the things that you want most from a health and wellness perspective. Find your balance. That's what this is all about. It's about defining balance for yourself. I really feel that so many of us are confused about nutrition. We don't know how to eat. We don't know what to eat. And so we resort to what we know. We resort to what's convenient. We resort to what we think is healthy. And that can be really challenging when we're trying to navigate the holidays. We're already inundated with all the sugar and all of these foods that maybe aren't foods that we would have throughout the course of the year. And then on top of it, just generally speaking, we're confused. We don't know what to eat. Okay, that is a lot. That is a lot. A lot. And it's a lot to navigate. And it can result in abandoning ship, right? Think about it. Psychologically, when humans are confused, we don't want anything to do with it. Okay, it's kind of like with marketing. If you are marketing a product to someone and it's confusing, or it's got, you've got many options, or it's not very clear what you're offering, or you're not really sure what they're saying in the ad or whatever it is, right? More often than not, humans are going to be like, no, I'm good. I choose none of these. I don't want any of this, right? Because it's confusing. It's confusing to us. And I think that's what happens when it comes to nutrition. So firstly, when it comes to nutrition, Whole for the Holidays, the Facebook group, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep referencing this because maybe some of you won't be interested in joining it, which is fine. But a lot of the focus there is going to be on nutrition and guiding you nutritionally, because I think that's what people have a hard time with, is understanding what to eat and how to eat. But if you're able to really identify, okay, how do I know is best to nourish my body? And I would say, spoiler alert, real whole foods. That will allow you then to proceed more effectively when defining your form of balance. Because balance really means nothing if you don't know how to eat in the first place, when you think about it, right? If you don't know how to eat properly, if you don't know how to fuel your body, then there's really no room to find a balance on the other side of it. So if you're able to start to define that for yourself and be able to set that foundation where you feel confident in your nutritional choices, then you can also say, okay, let me find balance in this space too, where this might not be something that I would routinely eat, but because it's, the Christmas party for work and they always cater this one restaurant and they have this penne vodka that's so good, and I'm going to enjoy it. That's what balance is about. And even further, with balance, you have to be aware of, any subsequent emotions that come along with that. I know there's a lot of guilt and a lot of shame or regret that can come along with making poor nutritional choices. And I don't want to say that that's wrong, right? Because your feelings are valid. Whatever it is that you're feeling at any moment in time, your feelings are valid. But if you can sit in a space comfortably where this is something I'm going to enjoy because I get it one time of year, it's so good. And if I don't get it, if I choose to stay away from it and avoid it and restrict, I'm either going to think about it all night long and I'm not going to be present with where I am and who I'm with, or I'm going to end up binging on something else or choosing something else later because I've deprived myself of something that I really genuinely enjoy. So defining balance is going to be the best tool that I can offer you, not only in the holidays, but forevermore, is finding that space of balance where you're able to enjoy the things that make life enjoyable. I say fuel for the body, fuel for the mind, and fuel for the soul. So fuel for the soul would be what I'm referring to here, would be that penne vodka, would be that pumpkin pie. And then fuel for the mind and the body all comes with educating yourself on what are the foods that are going to bring my physical being nourishment, what are the foods that are going to bring my mental being nourishment, right? My mental health nourishment. And this is a big part of my work with clients, is educating them on that. And then also finding space for balance. Because if not, then we are back in that all or nothing thinking mentality. And we know what happens there. And then lastly, I want you to really consider your stress management. Okay. The holidays are wonderful, but they also are inherently stressful. And stress can lead to a lot of emotional eating. It can lead to a lot of stress eating, leading into comfort foods. So I really want to encourage you with understanding what are the things that are going to help me feel more at ease. Do I need to disconnect more, right? Do I need to set boundaries? Do I need to practice more self-care? Do I need to say no? I guess that falls in line with boundaries, right? If I'm, taking on too much at work and I have family coming into town and, there's so much going on, how can I choose, to be more effective in navigating some of this, or setting a boundary so that I'm able to take care of myself? And I know that that's hard, right? I don't want to be naive to the fact that if children are in the picture, if you have, family, like I said, in town, or you have a lot of responsibilities at work, maybe it's the end of the year and that requires a lot of you. You have Christmas shopping to do. There's a lot happening. But the best advice I can give you is always being sure you're taking care of yourself in the midst of that. Usually we become the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th priority in line. And unfortunately, our health suffers as a result of that, both physical and mental. But when you really think about it and you reframe it a little bit, right, which goes back to the awareness, when we're starting to pay attention to our thoughts, we can reframe the thoughts so that they're more productive, that they generate different outcomes. So if we're able to reframe the way we see our own health and our own self-care as being a non-negotiable to being an effective parent, to being an effective worker, to being an effective spouse or partner, to being an effective, whatever it is, fill in the blank, then we can actually realize, right? Then we can see wait a second. My health and wellness should be first in line, right? It should be the first of priorities, because then I can be more effective in all these other areas of my life, all these other areas of, what I'm responsible for during this time of year. And not only that, when we're feeling better, when we're nourishing properly, when we're moving our bodies, when we're leaning into these non-negotiables, it makes it 100 times easier to navigate sugar, to, get good quality sleep, right? When we're not sleeping well, our hunger hormones are all over the place, which is going to make us more susceptible to making poor nutritional choices, which is going to impact our mood. It's going to impact our energy, our focus. It's going to impact how we navigate the day. It's probably going to determine whether or not we exercise or not, which is then going to make a difference in our sleep the next night, right? Like, you realize it's all the picture. The picture is a whole picture, right? We're a whole body, and all of these things interact with each other. So the more that we're able to prioritize our health, the easier everything else becomes. I am not just saying this to say this. I mean this with every fiber of my being. The more that we're able to lean into our own health and really prioritize the habits that fill our cup and make us feel good, that fuel us and nourish us, the easier every single thing becomes. And life is hard, and the holidays are chaotic. I'm not going to say that they're not. But the more that we're able to lean into the things that help fill our cup and fuel our bodies and fuel our minds even, the easier everything can be, the easier it'll all become. And I know this to be true because I've lived it. I see clients live it. All of these things become so much easier when we are feeling better and we're feeling good. So I'm hopeful that this is a helpful episode for you. As I said, there's more episodes to come in the next few weeks around the holidays and talking about different components of the holidays and how to be most successful. But I'm hopeful that these, foundational suggestions were helpful for you to start to reflect on them. I could have easily come on here and said, okay, eat this many calories, be sure you're getting this many steps a day, which is so not my philosophy, so not my thing. Okay. Not number one, there's no one size fits all to health. There's no prescriptive right or wrong way for you and me and everyone. And also it's about you finding your way, finding your balance, finding something that aligns best with your life, your responsibilities, your circumstances, and what's going on. So that might take more time, right? If I had said to you, eat this many calories, walk this many steps, you might feel like, okay, this is something I can apply. This is more uniform. I'm able to do this, but I don't want to be that person. And that really does kind of lean into that all or nothing thinking too, because if you miss a day, then, you know how that goes. So that's not my approach. My approach is more to just get you thinking, build awareness, the foundational tools of movement and nourishment and sleep and self-care and hydration and so forth. You can learn a lot more about that by joining Whole for the Holidays, which is something that I'm going to be, sharing in ongoingly over the holidays. You're also more than welcome to reach out if you're interested in working together and having that support throughout the holiday season. I would love that. And really, allowing yourself the opportunity to be present and to be here and now through the holidays with the people that you love, and enjoying it. That's what's most important, is that you're able to enjoy it. There's nothing worse than being stressed out all season long about what you're eating, what the scale is saying, if you're missing your workouts and getting so caught up in all of that you blink and it's already January and you've just missed it all, right? What is life about if we're letting ourselves do that? If we're so consumed by all of these things, like I just mentioned, and we're not being present in our relationships. The value of community and love and connection is one of the healthiest things that we can invest in, right? And we can be present for. We learn that through research, through the pandemic, social isolation, the impact of that on our health. And so most importantly, I encourage you, be present, be where you are, enjoy the time with friends and family. And I'm hopeful that all of the reminders and the guidance and suggestions that I've made throughout this episode will be carried along with you too. So thank you again for being here. Once again, there's the link for Whole for the Holidays in the show notes if you'd like to join us. But until next time, until you join me again at my table, be well.